everyone, this is Priya Bhoshne and I again welcome you all to our new session. In this video, we are going to cover uh, uh, Plato's theory of souls, right? So this is going to be the second video in the series of Plato, right, where we are learning about the thoughts of Plato. So in this video, we will cover Plato's theory of souls. See, in order to understand Plato's theory of idea, it is very important to understand Plato's theory of souls, right? Okay, so let us start. So, according to Plato, there are two aspects of a human being, right? There are two aspects of our personality. Number one is the physical aspect, right? And number two is the spiritual aspect, right? So there are two aspects of our personality. One is the physical aspect, which you can say that our body, and second one is the spiritual aspect, you can say, or you can say, which is our soul, right? So what since we are talking about Plato's theory of soul, therefore he is talking about the spiritual aspect of a human being or of a personality, right? Okay, next. So, what he says is that, okay, there are two aspects of a personality. Therefore, every person has a soul, right? So, you can say that a soul is a permanent feature of a personality. It is permanent, right? It is a permanent feature of a personality. But he says that every soul, right? Every soul has three elements. First element is the reason, second element is the courage, third element is the appetite. So what he wants to say is that, okay, every personality or every human being has two aspects, right? As I said here, that it has two aspects. One is the physical self, second is the spiritual self or the soul. So, and every soul has three elements, that is reason, courage, and appetite. But every soul is not equal, right? Every soul is different, right? What he says is that some souls are superior, while some souls are inferior, right? He says that some souls are superior while other souls are inferior. Now, how he is actually categorizing them? How he says that one soul is superior and the other soul is inferior? So, what he says is, he says that there are three elements which are there in every human body, or sorry, and in every soul has three elements, but the proportion in which these elements are present in a soul is different in every personality. Again, I am repeating that every soul has three elements, but the proportion in which they are present in a soul are different, and that proportion actually decides that which soul is superior and which soul is inferior. Now I tell you why. What Plato says is that there are three categories of person, right? There are three categories of person based on the dominant characteristic of the soul. See, what he says is, let me just erase it, right? Just a minute. So what he says is, okay, so what he says is that if in a person reason dominates, right? If in a person reason dominates, then that person is the first category, is the first category of person in which the reason dominates, and they are the, you can say, man of gold or persons of gold, because reason is dominating in these persons, right? Reason is dominating in these persons. Second category, what he says is, in second category of persons, courage dominates, right? So he says such a person as man of silver. So man of gold, you can consider that as man of gold. This is the man of silver. And the third category of persons in which appetite dominates, and he calls them as man of copper. Man of copper. So what he has done is he has actually categorized a persons into three categories. Number one is man of gold, right? Number two is man of silver. Number three is the man of copper. Now, as you all know, that when we talk about the intrinsic quality of these matters, then gold is considered to be superior than silver, and silver is considered as superior than copper. Is it clear? So what he says is that persons in whom reason dominates are the man of gold. Persons in whom courage dominates are the man of silver, and the persons the souls in which the appetite dominates are the man of copper. Right? Is it clear? So as you can see, as what is actually implied from this is Plato has believed in the concept of natural inequality. Now, why is it so? So, as what I have told you is, he says that every personality has two aspects: soul, spiritual aspect, and the physical aspect. And since soul is the permanent part of an individual, therefore and it is also natural, right? And he says that it is natural, it is actually natural that in some persons reasons dominate, in some persons courage dominate, and in some persons appetite dominate. And what he is doing is he's actually categorizing those persons, and as you can see that he is giving a good importance, or you can say a good priority to uh, man of gold, right? To the persons in whom reason dominates. That's why he's calling them as the man of gold, right? Whereas in his opinion, man of copper is kind of inferior. So what he says that these are the persons who are superior, and these are the persons who are inferior, and these actually lies in between, right? So these are actually inferior than this, while superior than this. Is it clear? So what he believes is, so the superior inferior is actually the inequality, right? It actually implies the inequality. So Plato believed in the concept of natural inequality. Is it clear? Okay. Now, now, see. So as per the Plato, what happens is, as I said, that a person has two aspects, right? The physical body, okay, a physical body, and the spiritual one, or the soul. So what he says is that physical body is the decaying part, right? It is a decaying part, whereas the soul is the permanent part, right? It does not decay, or it does not die, right? So it does not ends, it never ends, right? So what happens is that uh, uh, that when our body ends, right, when our body ends, what happens is our soul goes to the kingdom of God. So this is all what is said by the Plato, right? This is Here is how he is trying to give his theory of souls. So what he says is that when our body ends, then our soul goes to the kingdom of God. So kingdom of God is something which is the ideal state, right? Because what can be more ideal than the kingdom of God, right? So what he says is that when the physical body ends, then the soul goes to the kingdom of God. Now remember, just there is a catch here, that what is the function of the soul? The function, just remember the Socrates. What it said is that it is the function of the soul to tell us what is right and what is wrong. Right? We have studied it, right? That what is right and what is wrong. This is actually told by the soul as per the Socrates theory as well, right? So what he says is that okay, this is the function of the soul, but how the soul knows what is right and what is wrong, right? How actually soul knows what is right and what is wrong, and what is wrong, or you can say what is perfect or what is imperfect. So what happens is, how Plato gives the reason for this is, he says that okay, when the soul goes to the kingdom of God, it sees there, or the soul looks at everything, because kingdom of God is the kingdom of perfection, right? So everything there is perfect. Is it clear? So what our soul do is, it actually captures the idea of the kingdom of perfection. Means it actually captures the idea of what is right. Is it clear? When it goes to the kingdom of God, it now knows that what is right thing to do and what is the kingdom of perfection. Is it clear? Now, what happens is, when the soul when the soul comes back to the earth, right? When the soul comes back to the earth, right? When the soul comes back to the earth, it looks at the worldly things, right? Whatever is happening in the world, it looks at the worldly things, and it tries to recollect. It tries to recollect whatever it has seen in the kingdom of God. Is it clear? And then it recollect, and then it compares. Let's say it sees a person who is cooking something, right? Or you can say it sees a person who is beating another person. So he will see that, right? Our soul will see that. Then it will actually try to recollect what it has seen in the kingdom of God. Suppose it has seen that uh, people love in the each other in the kingdom of God. Then it will recollect that, and it will then compare, okay, this is something which is not right, right? Because this is not something which happens in the kingdom of God. This is what Plato is trying to convey, right? So I hope this is clear to you, right? So what it does is, it recollect and then compares and then decides that what is right and what is wrong. Now comes the twist here. What Plato has said, now Plato is trying to say, now since every soul is not equal, right? Is not equal. Every soul is not equal. Now, where was the difference? There was the difference into the elements of the soul. In some souls, appetite dominates. In some souls, courage dominates. While in some souls, reason dominates. So, what it says is, since every soul is not equal, therefore, they are not capable of comprehension in equal sense, right? They are not able to comprehend equally, right? To comprehend equally the idea of perfection to the maximum extent possible, right? So since God is an idea, God is what? God is an idea, and idea cannot be seen, right? But we cannot say that idea does not exist. What Plato says is that God is an idea, right? Idea cannot be seen, but we cannot say that there is an idea. Idea can be understood. It cannot be seen, but it can be understood. And how it can be understood? It can be understood only through reasons. Is it clear? So it can be understood only through reason. Therefore, who have reasons, only those persons who have reasons can understand the idea of kingdom of God, right? They only can understand the idea of kingdom of God, and the person who can understand this idea can only establish it on this earth, on this earth. I think I'm able to tell you this, right? So only those persons who are able to understood the idea can only establish the idea, the kingdom of God on this earth. So basically, what was the objective of Plato? The objective of Plato was to make Athens an ideal state, right? In order to establish the ideal state, he must have the idea of the ideal state. He must know what is the ideal state. Now he says that okay, kingdom of God is something which can be called as the kingdom of perfection. Now in order to understand that idea, a person should have the reasons. Therefore he is emphasizing that a person who has the reasons, who are basically the man of gold, right? The man of gold, sorry, the man of gold, the man of gold. So man of gold can only establish it on this earth. Therefore his idea of, do you remember the idea of philosopher king? So just try to recollect this, right? So who is a philosopher king? The person in whom reason dominates, to who actually understands the idea, and therefore since he can establish the kingdom of God on the earth, therefore the Plato is is trying to emphasize over again and again over the institution of the philosopher king. So this is basically the theory of Plato, theory of souls of Plato, right? Sorry, not theory of Plato, theory of souls of Plato, right? So I hope this is clear to you. This is very important in order to understand his theory of ideas. So in the next video, we will cover his theory of ideas, right? Okay then. Thank you so much. Take care and please don't forget to share and subscribe this video if you like it. Thank you.